everybody. We are recording this and we do put it on our website for others to be able to look back on the repository.
Ooh.
So my name is Stacy Sims and I'm the founder of The Well. And one of our favorite programs of The Well is Mindful Poetry Moments. And as many of you know, we incubated this project with On Being, and in particular with Poetry Unbound. If you follow the On Being project, you'll notice that they're refiguring out how they want to be in the world and what work they really want to lean into. And so they've basically allowed us to continue this container in new and fun ways. So our format is the same as it always has been, which is we're going to start with a meditation, and I'm going to introduce our guests in a second. And then we're going to hear a poem presented by a guest with information and illumination about that poem. Then we'll receive a prompt inspired by the poem. We'll have writing time and we'll have sharing time. And then we try very hard to be done right at 4 o'clock. So we keep our hour tight and potent and gorgeous. So then you have time to go back to the end of your day. So I'm super excited to introduce a few folks. First of all, you've all gotten to know over the several years we've been together virtually, Ro Schnorr. Ro will be coming back into our core cohort as a presenter in January. But playing the role of Ro today and forward, we have Bryce Kessler, who is the program manager for Mindful Music and is supporting our time together in Mindful Poetry. Presenting our meditation today is our dear friend, Rana Dotson, who we're very lucky to have as a friend, who's also a trustee of The Well. And Rana has worked for 20 years in labor and human rights, public policy, and international development. So she works within the government doing really beautiful and difficult work, as well as is co-founder and lead organizer for an international human rights collective called Border of Lights. She lives in the DC area with her family, and we're always delighted to have her to ground us and inspire us. And second, in this new fun thing we're trying out, which is asking our beautiful fellowship to present poems they love and to share prompts with us. We have back with us so a couple years ago, Bamaya visited and Mindful Poetry and was in one of our Mindful Poetry books. And Bamaya is a poet, spoken word performer, and artist who has been writing stories since she could hold a pencil. She has published works in several literary magazines, including Bravura and Mindful Poetry Moments. And her most recent artistic and literary works were created for San Diego Pride and Oceanside, California's Pride by the Beach. She's most often found posting haiku on Twitter, studying historically maligned female deities, good work if you can get it, and fashioning rainbows with paint and words on pink printer paper. She lives in Southern California with her daughter, their books, and their artwork. So we're very excited for today, and I'm going to kick it over to Rana to get us in the room.
Thank you, Stacy. Hi, everybody. Hi. So good to be here. So good to be here. As I was thinking about today and how best to welcome us all to the space, I really had letting go on my mind. And I don't know if it's the season or a transition that I'm in, or the poem that we're about to experience together. But I would like to lead a meditation that I learned from an incredible woman named Ashley Neese in this book that I'm going to read to you from. And I realized that not everybody comes to, it's called How to Breathe. 25 simple practices for calm, joy, and resilience, and I highly recommend it. I'm just going to read the entry on letting go to prepare us, because I realize not everybody does breath work on a regular basis. And so let's listen to what she had to say. You know, we instinctively know when we are holding on to things that we need to let go of. But we're often at a loss of how to release that energetic buildup. And, you know, oftentimes, you know, we're holding on to beliefs that don't serve us. We're holding on to damaging stories that we tell over and over again. We're reinforcing those beliefs. Our behavior patterns that are created as a result of those beliefs, and those are often the root of many of our emotional, mental, and physical issues. And this really resonates with me because of where I am right now in my own life. And I hope that many of you can also relate to that. She says, one of my favorite sayings from Al-Anon is to let go or be dragged. The reality is that most of us aren't willing to let go until we absolutely have to. We understand that we need to drop our baggage and live lighter, but just how do we do that? The concept of letting go is elusive at best, and it's tossed around so freely in the wellness community without any tangible way of practicing. So the letting go breath was created as an antidote to the spiritual jargon around letting go. It's a practice that we can do no matter what, no matter where we are on the letting go spectrum. The name of the book is How to Breathe, and I will put it in the chat. So the letting go breath is a way to receive support from our breath so that we have more freedom and spaciousness in our bodies, in our hearts, and our minds. And when we're able to let go with our breath in our bodies, it breaks down the constructs in our minds that keep us bound to beliefs that are restrictive and draining. So, of course, this isn't magical. We are not going to all let go in 10 breaths of like our deep childhood traumas, although I wish that for all of us. But we can practice, right? So first, let's get in a comfortable position. Just maybe wiggle your shoulders, roll your head around. Just sense your body settle down into your sit bones if you're sitting down. And I like to place my hand over my heart and just take a deep inhale. Exhale. And as we enter into this moment, let us set an intention for ourselves for what we want to receive. Through this letting go practice. And if you would like, you can stay seated or you can stand up with me. I'm going to stand up. Let's move this back. Okay, and we are going to, if you're seated, just put your feet at a comfortable distance apart. If you're standing, hip width apart, let your arms freely dangle to your sides. Close your eyes, or you can just let your eyes rest softly. And we're going to take a first deep breath, and then 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3. Then we're going to do this again, and we're going to stretch our arms up. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now on the next one, we're going to hinge forward. And if you have mobility issues, it's okay to do this in the seat or go down as far as you feel comfortable, okay? So we're going to inhale, and then on the release, we're going to sigh our exhale as we think of our intention of letting go or whatever you set for this practice, okay? So arms down, inhale. Maybe dangle your head around, let your arms dangle loosely. And we're gonna come back up slowly, slowly, slowly. And let's do it again. Inhale. And on the exhale, really sigh. Just dangle. Allow your arms to move in the shoulder socket. Allow your neck to be loose. And really try to notice the restrictions in your body and try to release them. I'm going to inhale again. So come up. 2. And inhale together. Now we're going to come up slowly, slowly. Hopefully I'm not flashing everybody on the camera. And inhale one more time. 2, 3. Big sigh. Slowly come up. And as you come back to standing or seated position, eyes closed and softened. Try to notice your body again. Notice the areas of restriction where they might have been before and where you may feel more energy, more relaxation, more openness. And as we come into this time together, you can open your eyes, join the room, and let's do poetry. Thank you.
Maya, you have the floor. Thank you, Reena.
Yes, thank you,
Much
Reena.
needed.
That was very much needed. I was surprised at how much I actually did need that. I was rushing around to get ready today, so I'm sure you guys know how that is when you've got a meeting, and then especially if you have to present. And so now I'm feeling a lot more centered and grounded and ready to present to you guys today. So the poem that I have for you today actually comes from one of our participants today. It is by Israeli poet Reena Ribalow. And I didn't know who this was at all, but she's actually from quite a storied literary family, and even have a literary prize named after a grandfather of hers. And I am just really impressed by her work. Sometimes you come across those poets who just stab you in the soul, and you're like, oh my gosh, like they know me, like that feeling of Roberta Flack, right? Strumming your pain with her fingers is what reading her work feels like for me. But we don't have to take it all that deep. So in the spirit that it's Halloween, I sort of am dressed like one of the characters in this poem. So it has a fortune teller, so I've got my crystal ball here, and it's giving me some good vibes and energy. And I think that one of the things that I like the best about this work, and Bryce is going to share it on the screen as we read through, is that she takes a lot of really, really real life things, concrete things, and pairs them with emotion. So I hope that you like it. I did want to, Reena Ribalow passed away 5 years ago, just about a month. It was her the anniversary of her passing. And today I'm actually very honored to have one of her relatives here. Her son, Shael Ben Ephraim, is here to be with us for this event today. So thank you very much for coming. Appreciate that. So without further ado, I think that I would like to go ahead and get this all kicked off. So if I could have Bryce share the poem for us, that would be lovely. Let me get to my view. And to minimize here. There we go. Thank you very much. Right. All right. Thank you all very much for coming today. I'll begin. This is Your Name Brushes by Reena Ribalow. Your ghost still flickers forth on nights that hold the dark, sweet threat of promise. Your freckled fingers, vine-like, choke your glass, swallow, and breathe out the warm, sad fumes of hope. It was all foretold when, fly-like, I was drawn through summer haze to share your smothered end. Amid the drone of parakeets, the fortune teller drew her cards. Your name did not appear. The man I was not meant to wed lies sleeping here beside me. Amid her bacon fumes, he was denied. But even then, in haunted heat, dazzled white suburban streets, you did not figure. Only for this hour, I am caught within the dying blue-white gaslight in your eyes before it's swallowed by the living black October of the sky. That is a lot, right? I just love it so much. Doomed romance is like pretty much like my whole gig. And
Would you like us to keep the poem up so we can dig into
actually,
the
I think that that would be lovely.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much for suggesting that. So I know when everybody like reads a poem, they're bringing a bit of themselves to that work. And so I've heard that literarily now they're saying author's intent doesn't really matter. It's really about the reader's interaction with the work and what they are bringing to it and is what they see. But I did a little bit of research and that made it even better for me. So as I was reading it. So as I stated earlier, one of the things that I liked about this was her pairing of the very real with the surreal. And since it's October and we're right here at the end of the month holidays with Dia de los Muertos and also Halloween, I really felt like this had a lot to say to me. My birthday is in October, so I just absolutely loved it. And I thought it was perfect to present for this month. One of the things that I didn't know, that I found out, it was almost accidental research, is that so in Israel, they use a different set of months. So they have a lunar calendar. And October, at least the beginning to mid of October, is at a different month name. It actually ends up being the, the each month goes with biblical tribe. And the biblical tribe that goes with the month of October that she mentions in the poem is actually the name of her ex. So I thought that was not accidental. I just don't think that that's possible. Another thing that I liked about this is her use of end rhyme and alliteration. I noticed there is a lot of F's. She's got them all together, and she's just flickers forth or freckled fingers. And I thought, yeah, that felt very, very intentional. There's no way for me to know that, but just it's something that I felt really, really sat with me. I also liked her use of the surrealism and the creepiness and how that pairs with the reality. So when she talks about his vine-like fingers or the gaslight blue of his eyes, like there's almost this impending sense of doom and danger and this sort of like feeling of being trapped, right? Things that kind of make you feel a little bit viscerally responding to it, like disgusted, like fly-like, or the drone of parakeets. Like sometimes somebody is talking and you're just like, oh my gosh, please do stop. But they're just going on and on. But if you've ever been in a room where you've got like a whole bunch of birds in a cage, that just that image of that caged bird and they're just like crying out, just making all that chatter. It's just really felt like a lot. But these were things that I thought were really wonderful about this poem. Another thing that I thought might not seem awful without the research was that when she talks about the bacon fumes of the fortune teller's home, and I thought, well, that is really deep. That is a non-kosher food. It's so, as an Israeli, I'm sure that would have been something that even if she ever ate it, it may have been something that to her audience that she was writing for would not have found appealing at all. So those were some of the things that I liked. Also, when I think about creepiness or trap, I notice how often she's saying no. There's hope, but very little, right? There's a little bit of promise, a little bit of hope, but it's a dark threat, a dark, sweet threat. I think one of my favorite lines is on, so actually, if you could scroll up just a bit. No, I'm sorry. When I say up, I actually meant down. So yes, right there. So in haunted heat of dazzled white suburban streets. So I really liked the alliteration. So in haunted heat and suburban streets and end rhyme as well. That, like for me living in Southern California, I was telling Stacy when she signed on, she was asking me about the area that I live in. And I think people who are not from California or they don't live here don't realize there's real pockets of conservative, very organized homes in a row, and all the houses look the same. And everybody's supposed to behave the same, which like sort of adds to that kind of trapped feeling. So we're not all out here like you know, peace and love and hippies with our like flip-flops on at the beach. You would think that, but it's not quite that way, at least not everywhere. So I really did enjoy the time that I spent with this, learning about this poem, learning about the author. And one of the last lines that I liked a lot about the living black October of the sky, I was trying to kind of like imagine what that could possibly be. And it made me go back to her earlier line about being drawn fly-like to the fortune teller's home. I doubt that that is part of her daily practice as an Israeli is going to fortune tellers. But it's like she couldn't keep herself from paying money to learn something that she probably knew already, is that this was not working for her. And so I really liked the way the runner brought out when it's time to let go of something, right? And so if those are themes that feel resonant for you, I hope that those are things that you will bring to our writing time today. So I am going to put our prompts in the chat. That way, if anybody needs to have that as they are writing, they can. And if anyone has any questions, I can go ahead and take those now, if that's okay with Stacy.
Yeah, do you want to just speak our prompt and then Bryce will put it in the chat? So then
I
we
sure will.
if
So
we
let
have
me,
questions.
I'm gonna paste it in since I didn't quite get it to him on time.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Right. So for our prompts, since I really liked the pairing of the concrete with the creepy, and everybody's got those creatures, right? Either creatures or food that just make them sort of wince a little bit. So I was going to have you guys pair those things together with a doomed love story. So in the spirit of our upcoming holidays. So it says here, pair a food or creature that gives you that creepy feeling with your doomed love story. So poetry, short poems, haiku, whatever. I'm looking forward to the optional sharing that will be at the end of the write. So there's of course no obligation, as there never is, to share. But I would love to hear you guys, your reactions to this work. So, and at this time I can take any questions if there are any.
How about if we do this?
Mhm.
How about if I go ahead and set the timer for our 10-minute writing time?
Mhm.
If someone has a question, perhaps they can put it in the chat, but that gives us a good amount of writing time.
That would be
Okay with
lovely. I can
everyone?
respond to those. Mhm.
So the prompt is over in the chat. As always, and I think Bamaya already said this, that if something else moves you and you want to write to some other impulse, please do. And we'll come back in 10 minutes and hear what we generated. We'll be back. we're at about 2.5 minutes left. All right, friends. I already see some creepy, gorgeous writing from Deborah in the chat. So I would love to know who might wish to read. And you can do so, you can let us know one of two ways. And since we're a one-page screen view group, it'll be easier to tell. You can just, in the reaction button, you can raise your hand. Or if that is cumbersome, you can just write in the chat that you would like to read. And Bamaya will be calling on us as we read.
Wonderful. It's so nice to have some dedicated time to write. So thank you for making the Mishkan, this container of a sacred space, open for us to do that today, Stacey. I really appreciate it. Deborah, I think I saw your hand first, Deborah Daniels. So if you'd like to go ahead and share, I will go ahead and mute.
Okay, it's a short one. Sucked into the mud of servitude, I smile up into your glistening teeth.
Thank you. I liked that use of alliteration. That was lovely. Let's see. It looks like it was either Stacy or Rana. I have no idea who was next.
Stacey, you go.
Reena, can I go and then you'll go?
Just please go. My computer's low on battery.
Okay, okay. What a fun prompt. So let's see. When I was 9 years old, I impressed a camp full of children with my fearlessness. Reaching my hand deep into the earth, my arm disappearing into the mud right near the pond, scooping up worms and other creatures. The attention was worth the fear. I was literally foretold that a decade later, I was literally foretold that the theoretical alchemy I wed myself to in the form of you was going to be a dark disaster. Was your limited attention worth the fear? The fear of loneliness, longing, not believing, being in an actual relationship? For 30 more years, yes, 30, I scooped out worms and bugs out of the loamy soil. Look, I'm not afraid. See me. And that was my poem.
Oh, man.
Thank you. That was very powerful. Very powerful. I like the use of alliteration as well. All right. Did you want to go ahead and go?
I'll go. Yes. See if I can read my writing. A startled centipede dropped its legs and fled with what remained. One held on. Too long, half attached, half dragged on the ground. The surprise was mine. You could walk away. Letting go, I finally found rest. A place to disintegrate, break down, be devoured, be reborn. In the belly of a bird today, I fly. Let go or be dragged. Thank you.
Well, yeah, that was right on time. I love that so much. I like the lightning with the humor. And I just, I don't know who the hell works for. The Scorpion and the bird, you watching that? That's lovely. Let's see. I'm just going to go in my screen order because now I have no idea whose hands are up. So that would be Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you, Reena. Thank you, Maya. Thank you. She was like a spider, making her web in the crawl spaces of my heart. She managed to lay her eggs, and all of her fuzzy, lanky legs held me down. Unaware of her venom, I cocooned. Years passed like an old cuckoo clock. My heartbeat growing stronger, her venom weakening by light of the gods inside. One day I rose, shed myself of her webbing, held with the lamp of love's oil. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natalie. One of the things that I really liked about that was bringing in the use of sound. That was one of the things about the poem that I found very concrete, like that droning of birds. And you were talking about that cuckoo clock. That is a creepy sound sometimes, right? Like I really did enjoy that. Okay, let's see. It looks like Stephanie is our last person to share, unless anybody else wants to put a hand up, and I will check and see if I missed anything in the chat.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. You're gone sooner than I expected, posting pictures of your new trees and shorelines as mine stretch out to meet you. A mug of tea steams and grows cold. I knew you'd be leaving, I just didn't know it would be so soon. A twisted trunk lines the side of a walkway, and I need to get outside. I reheat the tea and put it in a travel mug, but I know I won't drink it. I carry it for the warmth as the wind picks up. Maybe it'll keep for longer with the insulation I gave it, I hope, but it's really just a matter of time. Leaves crunch beneath my feet, and for the first time, I don't welcome the chill in the air. I think of the beach you're on in a different hemisphere, and I'm glad you're warm. The cold is stuck in my bones. I round the corner and take a sip. It's lukewarm, watered down, but I tip my head back all the same, aching for every last drop and then some. Anything to get me through the winter that arrived on my doorstep early. Anything to feel like I could still have you.
So I had no idea there was mindful music actually, but that reminds me of that What You Won't Do for Love, right? That was very nice sharing. Thank you. I think stuck in my bones, the cold stuck in my bones was something that really resonated with the group. So that was a really strong write. Thank you very much. Um, so we had one that was in the chat, Elliot's. Did you want to read that yourself, or would it be okay with you if I read it? It's up to you, or everybody can just take a peek at it into the chat box if you're not on a phone or something and able to see that.
I think they said you can read it.
All right, great. So Elliot has in the chat says, you said creepy and food, and my first thought was baby corn, because that's how I always describe it. And this is quite lovely and light and a lovely way to end today. Devious food lying to get inside you. Baby corn tricks you. That is just amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing those works today. Just this has just been quite a treat for me. I'm one of those people, like when it's my birthday, I celebrate from like the beginning of October and just slide right into January with all the fall and winter holidays. So this was a lovely end of the birthday month treat for me. So thank you all so very, very much.
So before we get to our final poem
reading. Mhm.
what I wanted to do, we're going to go out on a really beautiful note with the final reading of the poem. So before we get there, I wanted to just, first of all, thank everyone for being here, especially thank Bamaya and Rana Dotson and those of you who came to this gathering yet again to share a little time, love of beautiful words, and generate our own really cool, creepy poems. I'm going to send you all an email that basically gives you ways to contact Bamaya if you're interested in getting to know her more, or Reena, as well as inviting you to share any of your poems that you wrote with us that we'll put onto a blog page on our website that holds all those poems there. The poems we gather this month and through February, we don't publish those. We will hold that opportunity with our April set of poems for National Poetry Month, but we do love to share them on our website. So then you can also share them out to your friends. So as always, thanks finally, one final thing. We're together again next month, November something or another. It's on the website. I'll put it in the email with another cool poem with a guest delivering why they love it and inspiring us to write. So I'm going to turn it back with gratitude to Bamaya for the final introduction of our special reading.
Yes, thank you very much, Stacy. And thanks again to everybody for coming, for bringing great energy, for bringing lovely words to us today. It's been, like I said, quite a treat. So, I mentioned earlier that our featured poet's son is here in the audience with us today and participating. I wanted to thank Shael Ben Ephraim for coming. He is also a writer, is going to grace us with the final reading of his mother's work. So please be supportive because he did just celebrate her passing, so might be a tough read. So I will introduce Shael Brennan. He's a former history and political science professor at UCLA. He's a PhD from the University of Calgary, and also worked as a diplomat and journalist on 3 different continents. He is a writer and is going to share his a final reading of his mother's work. If I could have Bryce go ahead and put that back on screen for us, that would be lovely.
And if there's any insight into this poem that you have from a familial point of view, please let us know.
Yeah, thank you very much. Maya, gorgeous reading of the poem, and I enjoyed all of your work. Yeah, this poem really hit hard for me. They all do, really, because my mother's, not too bad a writer. But this one hit hard because I know the backstory. My mother was, you know the term oversharing. My mother was the ultimate in oversharing, which was good and bad. In this case, it's very helpful. So I know exactly what this poem's about. My mother had a boyfriend when she was young. My mother was very attractive when she was young, very beautiful till the end. And there were 2 men fighting over her. One was very sensitive and romantic, and the other one was more of a realist, hard driving type. The hard driving type was my father. The romantic idealist is the guy who lost out, which is very common. But my mother regretted that decision. And the other guy committed suicide. Now, I don't know how related it was. I think it was somewhat related. A couple of years afterwards, if I'm not mistaken. So I can easily picture my mother laying in bed, thinking about her ex. Yeah, anyway, not necessarily very pleasant thought for me, but very evocative. So that gives you the background that you may want. And she told me several times she regretted not marrying him. So this isn't a big secret because she did overshare, as I said. So having said all that, I'll try to do justice to the poem and live up to Bimaya's rendition. Your name brushes by. Your ghost still flickers forth on nights that hold the dark, sweet threat of promise. Your freckled fingers, vine-like, choke your glass. You swallow and breathe out the warm, sad fumes of hope. I was all foretold when, fly-like, I was drawn through summer haze to share your smothered end. Amid the drone of parakeets, the fortune teller drew her cards. Your name did not appear. The man I was not meant to wed lies sleeping here beside me. Amid her bacon fumes, he was denied. But even then, in haunted heat of dazzled white suburban streets, you did not figure. Only for this hour I am caught within the dying blue-white gaslight of your eyes, before it's swallowed by the living black October of the sky. Thanks a lot.
So
Thank you
Bryce,
so much. Wow, thank you, thank you.
Bryce, can you pull the poem down for a second so we can all see each other. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that.
No.
I did mean to mention, and I forgot that Shael can also be found on Twitter at Academic LA, and he is the host of Moment Magazine's one of the top 10 new podcasts called The History of the Land of Israel. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Another beautiful session. So for anyone who is willing to come up close and smile so Bryce can do a screenshot for us, let us know. So Stephen, Sarah, Elliot, it's okay. We'll just see your names. Oh, yay. And if you don't want to be on screen, then you can dip away. So, all right, we're looking good for you, Bryce.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, got it.
I don't know where to look when there's a screenshot. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back in a month. This was beautiful. I can't wait to see all of your poems. Please send them to us so we can put them all together. And thanks, Bamia, thanks, Reena, thanks, Shael, for joining us. It was really super special to have you here. Talk about the spirit world and this real world. That was very powerful. So thanks, everybody. Bye.